Hey, cardboard people. Flipping on that camera once more. Got a few more goodies in the mail, and I thought for this I'd share with you the opening of it. What we've got, as you may have seen from the title, is a couple of unsealed starters of another ancient game called, well, I always called it in my mind Wyvern. I've always said this word Wyvern, but I checked Google before turning this on, and it's apparently pronounced Wyvern. And for the handful of you out there who must not be too in touch with fantasy and don't know the term, Wyvern is, in short, another way to say dragon. Usually, I think there's an implication of a dragon without arms, like only a winged dragon or a winged serpent or reptile. But even on the cover here, this one has arms, so they meant Wyvern as in just dragons. So this is another really old one. 1995 is, I believe, the date on this. It says copyright 1994, but I think it came out in 95. And that was the year I first got into collectible card games. That was when Ice Age and 4th edition appeared in Magic the Gathering, and I'm part of that bumper crop of Magic players. I think you will find a lot of people out there who trace their beginnings in this hobby to that date. But anyway, I never knew people who played this, and I played this only once, if my memory serves me correctly, as a boy. And I remember that distinctly because it was a schoolmate who I didn't really talk to or didn't really know, and suddenly he wanted me to come over. It turned out, I guess he had a cousin in town who was a card player and who had brought these, and I guess he didn't want to play with him. And so he thought to invite me over, and then I ended up playing with his cousin for a few hours, this game Wyvern. And what attracted me to it, first let me show you the backs. The backs are very, very pretty. Gold and pink. I remember seeing it on the stands and this pink box standing out to me, but you know, I didn't know what it was, so I never went for it. But so that's a nice look right there, right? The backs of these cards. And then the fronts. I've commented to others who've done openings of this game that these cards actually look more like the genuine Magic cards from back in the day than a lot of the modern Magic card releases. So, you know, just a very basic monocolor border, nice art, some words in the middle, not a whole ton going on, no little foil stickers or extra classes and stuff in the middle. To, you know, just a very clean, very elegant looking game. And the art, as you can see, again, it had a very nice style. It's a sort of more simple fantasy art than some of the games I've opened here. I would also say it's again, it's got its own little bit of a kind of a charm. Not much in the way of backgrounds, as you can see, except on these terrain cards here, which are nothing but a setting. So they didn't go all out, right? But they got art that got the job done. Now, to my knowledge, this is truly a dead game. Look at these. I've not come across forums where people are talking about it or looking for opponents. I've not seen any fan-made sets, as was the case with the Rage CCG I opened, or the Middle Earth CCG also has a lot of activity online, or Vampire, the Eternal Struggle. This seems to be truly dead, and yet nonetheless, sealed boxes of this go for a pretty penny because of a funny printing error that occurred. I guess these were made in the same factory as Magic cards, and so there's a possibility that you can get a box of Wyvern where the fronts are actually Fallen Empire's Magic cards, but the backs are these. And as a misprint, I know that's a collectible item for some folks. That's interesting. But anyway, I just wanted to get my hands on these again because of the look, because they have their own sort of look, because I had that recollection of playing and seeing it on the stands. Ooh, look at that. I think it did last a year or two and might have had a couple of expansions to it. I know some of the other dead CCG YouTubers on here have put up how to play videos and maybe are trying to breathe some life back into this one. And it seemed like a really simplistic game from what I've seen of their videos. On the Wikipedia, they have a quote from one of the old Magic champions from back in the day, saying that it was basically Stratego with giant growths. Giant growths are just like a combat trick that you can do in Magic the Gathering. So not high praise in terms of the complexity of the game. But, you know, a lot of games start simple, and then if they make it into their first big expansion, that's where they start adding mechanics and really adding that sort of rules depth. Unless you're talking about Middle-earth CCG, which I've done a video of here on the channel. It just started out crazy. Look, you can already tell because they didn't have to use the super small font that I love, that this couldn't have been that complicated, right? But anyway, I love these little rule books. I will end up doing a whole video on these, actually. And then let's just see what else is doing here. Oh, another rule book from the other starter deck. And then more cards. I must have enough here for 2 pretty basic decks to get a game on at some point with somebody. Because I don't plan to get any more. I'll be happy to just save these 2 little boxes here in my pile of dead CCGs. Oh, look at town art. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys know anything about this? Is it a better game than I recall, or than what seems to be from the fact that it's got no audience that I'm aware of? Maybe mention some other old ones that I could pick up. Remember, what I'm really looking for is just like an aesthetic quality, a character to the game, signs of a you know, true effort on the part of the makers to make something collectible and pretty. In this case, I think there was some of that going on. You might also say that they were just trying to ape Magic. Again, the cards do look like Magic, but it's a nice, elegant look. And it just didn't happen to take off. So Wyvern by US Game Systems. US Game Systems. There you go. $7.95. All right, guys. That was fun.